Well, hello, Jason with Exploring History Together again with you. And today, my friend David Cuff and David is of the Historic Prince William Society. And today he and I went to visit the Thurman Cemetery in Prince William County in Manassas. It's a very, very small, tiny cemetery that was recently brought back into a little more cleaned up state. It was a little bit overgrown and so forth, but they cleaned it up real good. And David is going to take us there today. We're going to take a look. This one will be a very short video. He's going to give us a little bit of history of the place, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Thanks for watching. We are at the Thurman Cemetery in Manassas, Prince William County. And this is a very small one, be a short video, but I have my friend David Cuff here who's going to talk a little bit about it, whatever he knows about it.
Well, hello there. Hi, I'm David Cuff. Thanks, Jason. Yes, this is the Thurman Cemetery. It is in the edge of Manassas. It is a small cemetery. It's been abandoned for a while. Not really abandoned, but kind of neglected for a little bit. So we came in a couple weeks ago and cut up all the vegetation around it and in it. Had a lot of overgrowth, so cleaned it up. This property is going to be redeveloped in the next year or two, so it's very important to keep this cemetery in view, just so that everybody's aware that it's here and doesn't get mistakenly taken over. So we can look at some stones. This one's been replaced. This is for Thomas Thurman. He was in the War of 1812. This stone was replaced in 2018. There was a ceremony here to replace it. He did have an original stone, but it was in terrible condition, so they replaced it. Since he's a veteran, they have a program that replaces him. He is the son of the person buried over there, Robert Thurman. Robert Thurman died in 17, I think. Yeah, 1817. He was in the American Revolutionary War. He was living in the area at least in the 1790s. He paid taxes here in the area, which in the 1790s, this area was just about nothing. The city of Manassas didn't really start until after the Civil War, so 1870 maybe. Before that, it was just a little crossroads, little village called Tudor Hall. Then the railroad came through about 1852-ish. Then the Civil War happened. That was over about 1865. And then even after the Civil War, the population stayed the same. There wasn't a lot going on. There was a lot of reconstruction going on. It was not a happy place to be. There was a lot of destruction, a lot of people dead. A lot of family members didn't have people coming home. So it was not a great time. So to live through that was pretty impressive. This guy was before then, so was that guy. The people over there, they are related to the guy who laid out the town of Manassas, which is the older part that we consider older part today. He inherited some land and then laid out the plots and started selling property, or started selling small plats of land. About 1858 or so is when he inherited the land from a Thurman. His last name was Fuel. And slowly sold them. Most of those buildings don't exist anymore. The first ones were made out of wood, and there was a bad fire, I believe, in 1905 that burned most of the wood structures. And now you'll notice most of the downtown buildings were brick, and that's why, because people were scared of fire. So they rebuilt mostly out of brick, which is ironic that we are at a brick plant. That's okay. Sunshine is shining on that one nicely, so you can get a nice little view of that one.
We can get right down in there. All right, let's see. That says Robert Thurman, seen departed this life October the 19th in 1817, age 64 years. And he was a American Revolution soldier.
It's a very nice stone too. It's that brown sandstone or limestone. There's a couple buildings I think in Manassas that are carved from the same stone. Maybe the Connor House and the courthouse. about those at the Connor House. 2 brownstone quarries.
And we have determined that's a footstone over there on the other side of the tree, which is kind of odd. We have this tree growing right up between the headstone and the footstone.
This is a relatively large footstone. We usually don't see them this big. It might be this big because this rock is sometimes fragile. The sandstone kind of withers, but it only has its initials, R and T, and footstones always usually have the initials. And they did that so that people wouldn't be stacked on top of each other, buried on top of each other. So usually when you bought a carved headstone, it included a carved footstone. That's typically what I see, at least.
And these are fuels over here.
They are. These are not their original condition, or not condition, but location. They've been moved around somehow. Obviously, this used to be a farm here, so who knows what happened. They aren't broken, which is pretty impressive. Well, not broken in half, at least. This is that same sandstone. You can see the rough edges on the side where they cut it, probably by, I'm sure, by hand. That's weird stone.
It is what was available at the time.
Yeah, that was probably a cheaper stone, obviously. I think you could have gotten marble back then, but it was much more expensive. But not as expensive as slate, so who knows?
Well, that one says Huma Thurman, maybe. Looks like probably might be Thurman.
Yep.
July something, and that's probably an 1806 or an 1816.
Yeah, I can't even read that.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, this one, we couldn't read the year at all on that. The year's kind of chipped off right in there.
Yeah, that's hard to read. There were people here in 1976 who surveyed the property, or surveyed the cemetery, and they wrote down all the inscriptions. That's a document with Relic has that.
Can that be found online?
It can be. Yeah, there's an electronic copy. I think one of the guys was the Klein. The Klein family was known in the area. They had a farm. They still have a farm, actually, on the Prince William Parkway. And they started the Brethren Church up on 28, just a mile from here. They started that church. So they were very active.
I'm going to do a turn around here so we can see how the buildings and houses and everything are kind of encroaching right up here on the area. Businesses real close by.
Yeah, in a couple of years this will look much different. There'll be some type of new development here. The brick company's leaving. I don't know what they're going to put here.
That's the brick company right there. Thank you very much for the tour.
Thank you.
Short one, small one, but
yep.
Still just as important.
Yep, definitely. Thank you.
Thanks very much.